Hi, let me show you how you can get fantastic looking typefaces in just a few minutes. There are two methods, a completely free option and another one that requires a Creative Cloud subscription. I'll start with the first one, and it's my main choice for my design projects, fonts.google.com. This features over 800 font families, and it's one of the easiest ways of exploring large amounts of typefaces. When you visit the site, you'll see a lot of things on your screen. Let me break it down. In the top right, you have various categories to choose from. By default, they're all enabled, but say you're looking for only handwritten fonts. Not a problem. Uncheck the other ones, and the website will reload without having to refresh the page. You'll notice Google classifies fonts in a different way. Photoshop had some other options, but in essence, the main ones are covered. For example, handwriting also contains script typefaces, so you're not missing out. It's just a labeling thing. Further down, you can adjust how these results are sorted, and you have a few options: trending, popular, date added, and alphabetical. My advice is you constantly switch things up so you can diversify your knowledge of typefaces. If you constantly use the same ones, you're not going to grow as a designer. Further down, you have various sliders that help you pinpoint a certain style. Maybe you're looking for something that's extra thick. Not a problem. Click on this checkbox and move this slider towards the right. Great stuff. Let's clear all these filters by clicking here in the bottom right. These phrases are not randomly chosen, by the way. They aim to show you as many letters of the alphabet as possible so you can get an accurate representation of the font. More interesting is the fact that you can write in your own text. Click here and use Ctrl-A to select all this text. Remove it with your backspace key, and now let's write, "This is an example." Immediately, I get two options, one of which I'm really interested in. Apply to all fonts. Now I can easily decide what's best for my project if this were a real headline from my design. Besides getting the typeface's name and author, you also see how many styles, aka weights, it features. Roboto has 12 styles, meaning it's very versatile. You can use it for headlines in bold, for paragraphs in regular style, quotes in italic, and so on. This font, on the other hand, features only one style, and that's very limiting. Once you have an idea on what you want to use, you have to click on this orange icon. This box will pop up in the bottom right, showing you how many font families you've selected. In this case, it's just one. If you click it, you'll expand this window, and it will show you how fast it will load if you use it in a web design project. It also helps you integrate it in case you're working on a web design project, so it's really easy to get started with them. We only want to download it, so we'll skip all this. Let me minimize it, and I'll choose some more interesting fonts. Let's take a bunch because I'm not sure which is best for my next project. Okay, once that's done, open that window again and click on this download icon in the top right. Now you'll download a zip archive, and that will contain all your choices. Now I'll extract it, and each font is going to be placed in its own folder. Here they are. If you go through them, you'll see some of them have loads of styles. Here's a trick to install them faster. Make sure you're above all these folders and use the search feature from your operating system. These fonts are TrueType, so I'll search for .ttf. This will reveal all fonts, and now I can select them all with Ctrl-A. Copy them with Ctrl-C, and now we'll place them inside our operating system's fonts folder. In my case, that's C, Windows, Fonts. It will usually take a second to load, but once you're there, use Ctrl-V and you'll paste all those typefaces. Note that you may get an error if you've already got it installed. If that's the case, you can skip it. Great, now you can jump back to Photoshop and you'll find they're available, in most cases without having to restart the program. As you can see, if I look for a newly installed font, I find it in this list. Nice one. Let's talk about the second way of getting fonts, and that's through Typekit. This is available only for those who have a Creative Cloud subscription, so if you're paying for Photoshop, you get to use this amazing gallery for free. If not, your best bet is to stick to Google Fonts. Recently, this has been rebranded into Adobe Fonts. Here's the scoop. This might get rebranded to Adobe Fonts in the next Photoshop upgrade, but for now, that's its name. As you can probably tell, this makes a big difference because some typefaces only work in certain conditions. For example, headlines allow for more creative and interesting fonts because of their generous size. This means the viewer can appreciate all those fine details. Whereas if we're talking about body text, aka paragraph text, a small size is needed and we want to choose something clean for the sake of legibility. Speaking about this choice, I'd like to draw your attention here. You can use these filters on the left side. As you can see, we can filter this list based on their recommended use, for paragraphs or for headings. This just points you in the right direction. It's not bulletproof by any means, but I appreciate the fact that Adobe's trying to help me. I love this redesign because it's so easy to use, but let's cut to the chase. Say I love this font family, right? I can see it has a ton of variations, which is great because it means I can use its many weights and styles throughout my project. To download it, you don't have to jump through hoops like we did with Google Fonts. Nope, all you have to do is click on this slider. This will synchronize it, and as long as you have your Creative Cloud program running, you'll get a notification saying those fonts were added. Don't go looking for them on your drive because you won't find them, at least not without any significant effort. Now you can go back to Photoshop and try it out. This is a fantastic experience and Adobe deserves a round of applause. Going back to Adobe Fonts, if you're a web developer, you can click on this symbol and that will prompt a new web project. For us, that's not needed, but know that it's there. When your project is going to be coded, your developer has to know about this feature. Finally, when you click on a typeface, you'll get this listing which should have everything you'd expect. All the weights, the possibility to activate only certain ones so you don't overcrowd your system, the option to customize your viewing mode, a slider for the text side, an area through which you can change your sample text. Really, this is a fabulous experience, so your typography game should be on point. That's it for now. Take care.